So, why therapy may not be the right decision for you if you are experiencing job stress that lasts longer than 6 weeks. Hi, I'm Glennae Davis. I am the founder and CEO at Glennae's RX for Life. We are a career burnout consultancy and healthcare education agency where we specialize in workplace mental health, especially for Black career women and registered nurses who have specialized needs when they go off on FMLA for issues that impact their mental health and need to be treated in a way where they receive specialized knowledge, understanding, and application to their employment rights, for their FMLA rights, to ensure that they return to work healthy and better than when they left. So I created the title. So let's go ahead and get into it. But what if you're told to go to therapy for your job related stress? Here's the scenario. Job stress is lasting you longer than 6 weeks. Job stress is lasting you longer than 6 weeks. And that means one or two things are happening. You are not implementing employment skills. Okay. You have not implemented employment skills. The weight begins to become baggage that you were never designed to carry. Now you're dealing with issues like anxiety, depression, weight gain, insomnia, all symptoms that can be applied to a medical diagnosis, but it's all because of some stressor that happened in the workplace that you as an employee failed to skillfully address. The sooner you address it, the better, because stress that lasts longer than 6 weeks automatically becomes symptoms of disease because you're ignoring something that came to kill, steal, and destroy you. So, therapy could be for you if you are learning to understand self, redefining yourself, improving how you interact with yourself and with others, learning how to set healthy boundaries in personal relationships. However, if you go to therapy for job related stress, your therapist is going to want to get to know you. And then they're going to ask you the infamous words: tell me about your childhood, right? In spiritual terms, for those of you who are my Christians and believers in Yahweh, you're looking back. You look back, you get salty. You don't want to look back because you actually have a stressor that's in front of you. And looking back, it's not going to do anything but distract you. And your therapist is going to diagnose you with a mental illness because of economic incentives. They cannot bill you through your insurance, especially if you're using your third party insurance, which most of you do. You pull out your Blue Cross, your Blue Shield, your Health Net, you call the mental health services on the back of your card for job related stress that has just been lasting longer than 6 weeks, and you go into mental health services thinking that maybe you do have a mental illness, but you have failed to be skillful in the workplace. Then you go to therapy for job related stress, two things happen. They're going to ask you to tell you about your childhood, and because of economic incentives, they're going to diagnose you with a mental illness. But during therapy sessions, you're still not being taught which employment skill you are lacking to use in the lessons and that are burdening you. So sitting in therapy for workplace stress could be a waste of precious time, especially if you're dealing with workplace discrimination, some illegal activity going on in the workplace, something that is has your attention that you need to address to make sure that your future and your health remains intact. So why would I say that it could be a waste of time? Because as a condition of employment, we all have hard things to do in the workplace. We are hired to understand and know what the anti bias, anti discrimination, anti harassment policies and laws are as a condition of employment. We have to test for that every year. So when it comes time for you to use it, instead of exercising your employment skills, you do this thing called freeze or fawn, which is um, not appropriate in the workplace because you have policies, you have guidelines, you have things that you're supposed to be doing as a condition of employment. Number two, some hard things to do in the workplace is setting boundaries. You don't want to, burn bridges in the workplace for some reason. You think that, anyway, conflict resolutions is a hard thing to do in the workplace. Doing hard things in the workplace is also empowering. Empowered means to be given rights. So if you are empowered, you have rights and you are exercising the skills that you need to make sure that you remain upstream, that's empowering. That is a condition of employment. That guarantees that you get over your stressor and keeps you from being a coward, right? Because in the end of days, your follower of Christ, like I am, he's gonna say, though, get away from me. I never knew you. And he's talking to cowards, and we don't want you to be coward in the workplace because it's not gonna fly with Christ to be like, oh, you were facing discrimination in the workplace. Oh, come on in here. No, he told you some things that you need to do, how to choose him, how to love him, how to follow him. And we do that in the workplace. There's no other place in this realm of world where you can exercise these things other than at policy, in the workplace, where our image is, our paycheck is. So trust in the Lord with all your might and lean not on your own understanding. Okay, trust in him, because if you don't, then you a lot of workplace um, people who are dealing with current chronic job stress, they end up falling victim to America's public health crises of death, disease, and poverty. Why? Because they failed to exercise the skills that they're supposed to implement in the workplace. They failed to trust in Yahweh in the workplace. They failed to follow the truth, the way, and the life in the workplace. So those are five clinical indicators that makes you mentally healthy with a mental health capacity to properly deal with workplace issues that will burn other people out who do not exercise their employment skills. So, if job stress is lasting you longer than 6 weeks, take our work fatigue quiz. Okay, you'll discover what level of work fatigue you may be dealing with, whether it's ethical, physical, moral, let me see, ethical, physical, uh, spiritual. Hold on, let me get to my website. 5 levels of work fatigue: physical, mental, emotional, ethical, and spiritual. You get to discover which level of work fatigue you are dealing with so that you'll know where you are. And if you do decide to go to therapy, to take or to the psychiatrist or whatever it is that you need to take your FMLA, then you'll know exactly what it is that you need to work on while you're off work for 12 weeks. Because currently, Black career women and registered nurses who are taking off work for work related issues are twiddling their thumbs during 12 weeks when you have an actual workplace issue that you are dealing with, but no one is empowering you or helping you to become encouraged to be empowered to handle the business that you are confronting, that you are in front of, or that has caused you stress, however you want to look at it. It's up to you to handle the business at hand so that you overcome the situation, grow from it, and never have to deal with it again. So take the work fatigue quiz, learn your level of fatigue, and become encouraged to skillfully address, cope, confront, and decide your next move in confidence. I will leave the well, no, comment fatigue if you want the link, okay, to our quiz. Until then, it's Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye.